without further ado, let's of course do it alphabetically because we literally want to break it out team by team really quickly and what their potential retentions will be. And because we have two CSK fans, one ardent, one not so ardent, let's start with CSK in terms of who they could potentially retain. Right. So there we have it. We think Gaikwad, Jadeja, Patirana bankers. Then you have the small matter of MS Dhoni in the Uncapped with Samir Rizvi. And the potential RTMs are Deepak Chahar, Shardul Thakur, Shivam Dubey, and Tushar Deshpande. We'll get to the other teams. Don't be distracted with the entire graphic. But CSK, just memorize those names before I throw it to Nix right now. So do you agree with that, Nix? Gaikwad, because you're captain. Patirana, because he's the Malinga in the current IPL. And of course, the rest of the lads there.
Yeah, I think the three names I definitely agree with. That is Jadeja, Gaikwad, and Patirana, because I think they all offer different things and you need them in your setup. So the core can be built around them. The Uncapped, yeah, it does sound very weird to see MS Dhoni paired with Samir Rizvi, but again, it is what it is. The breakage is also important. I think probably 2 with 18 would probably be Gaikwad and Jadeja. And then Patirana probably gets the 14 CR bit. And I think that is where I would want them to stop. Of course, with MS, I mean, after all of this, you would assume that MS would agree at 4 CR as uncapped retention. So that is a decent, okay chunk out. But I'd want them to end at 4. Because I feel there are a lot of players, whether it is Conway, whether it is Deepak Chahar, whether it is Shardul, that they have to take a final eventual call. There's also Moeen Ali, who perennially has been a CSK kind, but hasn't always been used in the best of their abilities. And we saw that last year as well, that Gaikwad wasn't someone who was relying on spin as much. So it brings Thikshana also into picture that how do they see that guy? So for me, it should be 3 people who are retained, Gaikwad, Jadeja, and Patirana, MS being the uncapped option. So you go with 4 slots booked. You have 2 options for RTM. And others, you have to play smart and look to buy them back. Because the advantage that you have by only keeping 3 and 4 is you'll have enough chunk of the purse remaining to even see if others are spiking those rates up. Because I'm sure somebody like a Shardul, Deepak, they've gotten a lot in the past. Will they get those again with the impact player also in the play? That is something to be seen.
Okay, so here's a question and addressing the elephant in the room then, Akshay, and time for your fireworks tonight. Should CSK retain MS Dhoni or should Dhoni retain CSK? That's a good one as well.
Yeah, I mean, there are 2 ways of looking at it. Should CSK retain Dhoni? Of course, the answer is yes. 4 crore mein MS Dhoni mil raha hai. Why would you not? That would be outright stupid. Should Dhoni play? That's a different question, and I won't be talking about that.
No, my second question was, should Dhoni retain CSK?
Again, same, potato, but yeah.
No, that's a joke, bro. What do you mean a player can't retain a franchise? Only Dhala can. That's what I'm saying.
I wish I could say
yeah, but jokes apart, honestly, we've had this conversation in MNL before, right? I think a lot of people have seen that reel on Instagram as well of us debating how MS adds value to the CSK team and to the league in general. Your question last time to me was whether he'll be able to sustain himself for 3 years. Now, my suggestion was he'll play next year because obviously he wants to just give the fans a high. And then the next 2 years, it'll be like player mentor role, which again will probably be tweaked in a nice way, where he'll probably play 2-3 games and then the rest will happen. It's a transition phase for CSK, bro.
Bhai, again, 45 saal ka ho gaya. You can't transition now. The transitions already happen. You have Ruturaj Gaikwad in and once again, in that sense, Gaikwad has also been vocal about the fact that Dhoni has been clear ki boss, don't expect a lot of help from me. I'm here as a player. I'll be keeping behind the stumps, but I won't be giving you too many inputs. For the first couple of games or something, he was still helping, assisting him in terms of field placements and whatnot. But beyond that, you could clearly see that it was Gaikwad on his own. And in all fairness, Dhoni as a player, I don't think is going to cut it right now because of fitness issues. Solely that. I'm not saying that player kharab hai. Don't get me wrong. I am a big admirer of Dhoni myself, but that doesn't change the fact that come IPL 2025, he should be playing here simply because एक तो number 8, number 9 पे अगर आपका कीपर आके सिर्फ 5 बॉल खेल रहा है, to be honest, that's going to be a liability because you would want your keeper.
But why is that a liability? He's hitting 5 balls 20, bro. He's giving you runs.
You don't select a player to play 5 balls in an innings. There's no rule. There's no rule.
Why not?
भी 5 ball नहीं होता. I'll give you a start. I'll give you a start 1 second. IPL 2024, MS Dhoni played more than 10 balls in 4 innings. CSK lost each of those 4 games. Then
but look at those situations. The match is out of his hand.
Who
See,
said out
the
of his
point
hand
here is,
CSK versus DC Vizag, CSK versus LSG Chennai, CSK versus Punjab Dharamshala? They
अरे
weren't
तो
out of their hands.
मैच याद करके the situation doesn't change. But the point
How?
is, see, he in the last season, at no point of time in that league, you felt he was a liability, whether it is with the gloves or with the bat. He
I
came in
agree.
and did
I
his
agree.
job.
Akshay, I
Now,
don't
whether
understand how that's been used
How
in
I'm see, okay, to be clear, when I say liability, I'm not saying that he did not perform. There's a difference between the two. My point is, as your premier keeper, he has to come in earlier. अगर तुम्हें इतना भरोसा है तो
there is
भेजो
no
ना जल्दी.
who says
अरे
there is a
कौन
rule
सा
like
finisher
that.
19th over के बाद आ रहा है? What is this
How does
role?
it matter
What is this
where
role
is
that
it
this
from?
team's only in
matter.
the
That's
19th
their
over?
strategy. That's their strategy.
How
That's
does
not
it
a
matter?
strategy. That's not a strategy. That's exactly my point. If that's a strategy, that's a very flawed one at that. There's a reason why
It's
CSK didn't make
okay.
it to the playoffs. How?
They did not.
I don't know
Exactly.
if it was
Pause,
fair. If you're okay with the
pause,
strategy
pause.
that's as flawed as that, sure, go for it.
CSK did not make it to the playoffs because of MS batting low. That is absolutely crap. That is
अरे
not the
अगर
reason they did
नो
not make
अगर
the
धोनी
playoffs.
का बैटिंग
Except,
इतना ही अच्छा था नहीं अगर धोनी का बैटिंग इतना ही अच्छा था वो ज्यादा बॉल खेलता ज्यादा रन बनाता CSK naturally would have been in a
but
better
it doesn't
position.
matter to the team. There are other people who can contribute. Now the point here is, if you are getting a player, if he can make an impact playing less than 10 balls at a strike rate of 300, I don't think any team in the world is going to mind that player. Now, if the player cannot do it, I think MS in himself, as much as we've known him, he'll be open enough to admit he can't do it. And this is just my POV that had he had a flop last year, had he not done what he did, he would have given up. But because he found a way to keep himself relevant in terms of whatever time frame it is, he's been able to sustain himself. And I don't think 4 CR is a price that you will not want to pay for
I
somebody
agree.
like.
This part I agree. At 4 CR, I'm not going to deny that at all. I completely am with you on that. At 4 crores, like I said earlier as well, CSK would jump at the opportunity to retain Dhoni. But my point is, as a specialist impact player, I don't think it's fair on the team itself, because if your main player, or who, even as an impact player, if he's going to average 5 to 6 balls in innings, I think it's far too less. Far too few deliveries to be able to create some sort of a tangible impact.
Okay,
And
fine. 1 second. Before I get Anirudh in here, I just want to tell you 7 reasons, and again, Tala for a reason. 7 reasons why I would keep Tala for CSK. Okay, listen to me. 1, keeping. 2, DRS. 3, just being the invisible captain and just being that person that it matters. It matters. 4, finishing, right? Because if you look at his last 2 numbers, last year was brilliant. Even the year before that, he had a strike rate of, I think, in excess of 170 or something like that. Albeit he scored about 100 runs in the tournament. Fair enough. The other 2 reasons is obviously the brand value of CSK. You have to take into those considerations as well. You have to, as much as we like it, loathe it, whatever, that is a big part of it. And the other couple of reasons I generally feel if you have his presence on the pitch, forget in the dressing room as a mentor, it just does produce 10% more in each player there. And I know you would say that, oh my God, that can't be quantified. But these are reasons why you would keep someone like that. Bro, this across sport, I know transition happens, right? Like even with United, Anirudh, when Ferguson went, we knew there would be a fucking fall in grace, right? And that will happen with CSK at one point in time. But the best way they can do it, I see Dhoni play the 2025 season, potentially the 2026 season, couple of games. He's not.
The transition was supposed to, the last IPL, I mean, the last auction cycle was supposed to be that transition. That's exactly my point.
I think that is the exact reason why the vibe around this is very negative. That we have always assumed since 2021 or 23 that this is his last year, where it was never mentioned clearly at any point of time that I'm going to go after this season, that this will be my last season. Now, whether we feel he's overstaying or whether he feels he's overstaying, that is a subjective call. He did not make any negative impact, so that is not a problem. Secondly, whatever Avnish has made in terms of pointers, now, if he's not fit enough to keep, then it's a different debate altogether. And then maybe it is up to MS to be put his hand up and say that, dude, I can't keep for 20 overs with my knees. It's better I stay off. And that is the honesty that we expect from MS. But just because you don't feel it is the right strategy that doesn't matter. Cricket.